Thank you all for being here this evening. I call this December 10th, 2019 meeting of the Morrisville Town Council to order. Thank you to those here in person with us tonight, which are many, those watching via live stream, and those who are going to be watching the recording of this meeting sometime in the future. Our town mission statement, which helps guide our decisions tonight and into the future, is connecting our diverse community to an enhanced quality of life through innovative programs and services. Please silence all cell phones while in the council chambers. We will now have the presentation of the colors by the Morrisville Police and Fire Department Honor Guard.
Right, face. Freeze there. Oh.
Please join us in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Oh. About face. Right, face. Onward, march. Left, right. Left, right.
Thank you. Please be seated. I would now like to recognize our Sergeant at Arms, Senior Officer Gideon LeCraft. He has been in law enforcement for 14 years, 5 with the town of Morrisville. He currently serves as the department's administrative officer. Right now it is time for our invocation by Rabbi Yisrael Kotler of the Chadbad of Cary.
Almighty God, we stand before you in prayer. Look favorably upon the mayor and the honorable members of the town council of this great town of Morrisville. We are now in a season where religions around the world emphasize the importance and the beauty of light. Later this month, our Jewish community will begin kindling the light of the menorah, beginning with just one candle and every other night kindling one more. And light is one of the most powerful creations of God. My mentor would often tell me a little bit of light dispels a lot of darkness. Indeed, while a single candle might seem weak and unable to accomplish much, it has the power to illuminate and overcome all darkness. Almighty God, we ask that you guide these council members with your light. Let them connect to your illumination and become beacons of light to their communities. Give them insight so that they will always be conscious of your presence. Illuminate their minds to enact laws with honesty and integrity in accordance with your will. Bless these distinguished individuals who have been chosen to make laws and decisions for the citizens of our town and bestow upon them the light of life, good health, and prosperity. Although we may hold different opinions and ideas, let them always be able to find the inherent light and goodness in each other and encourage one another to fulfill their divine potential in making this world a kinder and gentler place. May they become sources of inspiration for their constituents so that they too can bring light to their homes, their families, and their surroundings. May we all be empowered to remember the potential that you have given us, and may none of us underestimate the power of one light, of one good deed. There is something about a flame that makes it almost more spiritual than physical. With the physical substance, when it spreads out, it becomes thin. Spirituality, when it's spread, it expands and grows. When you use something physical, you have less of it. It is diminished. The more money you spend, the less you have. The more food you eat, the more you have to restock. But with spiritual things, it increases with use. When I use my wisdom to teach, the student learns, and I also become wiser. When we share our love, we become more loving, not less. And so at this momentous time when new council members take office, we remember this spiritual principle of light. When a torch of leadership is passed to another, when one uses a candle to light another candle, that original candle remains bright because light is not diminished when it is shared. And those that have served will continue to shine their light to their communities. And may our town serve as a beacon of light to people from all faiths and all walks of life. May Morrisville help achieve the goal so powerfully stated in our Pledge of Allegiance, so that America is truly one nation under God indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And let us say, Amen.
Thank you, Rabbi. It's very powerful. This time I'd like to recognize some of the elected officials who we have in the audience, in addition to those who are doing our swearing in tonight. We have Sonia Barnes from Congressman Price's office over there. We have Matt Calabria, Wake County Commissioner. We have Sig Hutchinson, Wake County Commissioner. We have Chris Haggerty from Wake County Board of Education. Wiley Nickel from North Carolina Senate. And Terry Mahaffey, Apex Council Member. Is there anyone that I've missed? Sorry, we got a big crowd. If I missed you, it's not on purpose. Okay? And those other electeds we'll be talking about in a few moments. Before we adopt tonight's agenda, Town Council policy is to review and ensure there are no conflicts of interest or appearance of conflict of interest with any items on the agenda. Does anyone have any such conflicts?
No conflicts.
Okay. I entertain a motion to adopt this evening's agenda.
I make a motion we adopt this evening's agenda.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes unanimously 6-0. We will be having public address after our recess. There are 4 items on the consent agenda this evening: a resolution to unseal various closed session minutes from 2016 to 2019, and the approval of the November meeting minutes. Does anyone want to pull anything for discussion from the consent agenda?
There's also 2 other items, Mayor, the November 16th and then November.
Yep, those are part of the November minutes.
Okay, sorry.
So those 4 items, I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That also passes unanimously 6-0. Now it's time for recognition of elected official leaving office, Councilmember Michael Schlink. If we could all come to the front, I will read the proclamation and award his plaque. Proclamation in recognition of Councilmember Michael Schlink. Whereas Michael Schlink has successfully served the town of Morrisville as a council member for the past 8 years, holding fast to his beliefs and values, which in turn made him a strong, effective public servant. And whereas Councilmember Michael Schlink has been a diligent, dedicated, and well-prepared contributor to the town council, utilizing his expertise as a small business owner and veteran to advocate on behalf of the citizens of Morrisville with thoughtful deliberation. And whereas Councilmember Schlink built bridges and strengthened regional relationships with the Wake County School Board and Research Triangle Park leadership with the goal to add a future STEM high school near Morrisville. He opened an ongoing dialogue with the North Carolina Department of Transportation to leverage spending on road projects such as the McCrimmon Parkway Extension, NC 54, and the Airport Boulevard Extension. And whereas Councilmember Schlink advocated and supported improvements to our park system, specifically Northwest Park and Church Street Park. And whereas Councilmember Schlink successfully advocated for parkland payment in lieu from multifamily housing units to support future development of parks and park amenities and a 1-cent tax equivalent allocation in the annual operating budget to support future roadway and transportation projects. And whereas Councilmember Schlink has worked to protect Morrisville's small-town character through land use decisions, supporting improvements to our parks, and was an integral participant in the development of several long-range projects, including the Comprehensive Transportation Plan, the Land Use Plan, and the Unified Development Ordinance, these long-range projects will bring positive and innovative change to the town of Morrisville for years to come. Now, therefore, I, TJ Cawley, Mayor of Morrisville, on behalf of the Town Council and residents of Morrisville, do hereby express appreciation to Councilmember Michael Schlink for his service and contributions that have been instrumental in shaping the town of Morrisville. Thank you.
If you'll bear with me. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you, colleagues. Appreciate that. We live in a time of unprecedented change. Politics have changed in the past 8 years since I was first elected. City government and elected officials can be overwhelmed by the pace of change, with national party politics, friction, and social media outrage. Our municipal officers and state parties shouldn't let political outrage become a town brand that preys on anger, bitterness, and character assassination with smear tactics. This kind of diverse politics makes it easy for people to say horrible things and feel protected behind their keyboards, tearing us all down. Regardless of party affiliation, these smear campaigns and false narratives are dishonest, destroy public confidence, and self-defeating for all members of society. As my mother used to tell my sisters, brothers, and me, reality has a way of catching up with you. Politics is a battle of ideas. In the course of a healthy debate, opponents prioritize different goals and different means of reaching them. But without common baseline of facts, without a willingness to admit new information into the dialogue, or to concede that the other side is making fair points, that logic and reason matter, we'll keep talking past one another, making common ground and compromise impossible. At times, governing Morrisville can be an overwhelming, complex job, but it doesn't have to be if our leaders commit and follow and enforce our newly established blueprint for town council, social media policies, and code of conduct. These documents reflect the ethics and decency of our community. Moving forward, these documents are the building blocks necessary for maintaining good government, accountability, and transparency. As a leader, I've tried to follow Albert Einstein's simple logic when he said, "We cannot solve all problems with the same thinking we used when we created them." As with our region, there are no quick fixes to our problems, just steady progress and improvements and leveraging town opportunities. Just this year, working with other cities and elected officials, we merged our 911 call center, decreasing our emergency response times by up to 2 minutes. I am proud of the progress made by the council while I was a member, and my personal contributions to that progress. It has been exciting to be part of these wonderful changes over the last 8 years, and that have made our town recognized as one of the best places in the state to live, work, and raise a family. We have delivered greater value for the people we serve by becoming a simpler, more focused, and future-facing town. We ushered in smart city planning and building standardization into our town functions, reflecting best practices, setting up policies to meet our citizens and stakeholders, evolving needs with flexible, simpler, more intuitive policies, allowing us a range of new funding and customer-friendly experiences. Together as a council, we couldn't have accomplished this without our remarkable staff and town manager, Ms. Page. What a road we have traveled together. I've drawn from staff's help, energy, and tried to reflect back what they displayed every day: heart, character, and a belief in a fair and just, inclusive Morrisville. There are not enough words sufficient to thank my family members for what we have endured recently in this past election cycle. To my 4 daughters, thank you all for always understanding the events and phone calls I miss and never holding them against me. To my wife of 32 years, the mother of our children, and an incredibly classy and energetic Wake County educator. You know the true depth of the challenges and joys of the last 8 years and before, because you have been there every step of the way. Thanks to you, Kimberly, for your love and understanding along the way, and I couldn't have done this without you. In closing, I wish to thank my many colleagues and staff over the years and all of the diverse residents of Morrisville. It has been my great honor and privilege to serve you as a town council member. Goodbye and God bless.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Schlink, for all your service. I've already recognized the elected officials, but Joe John, representative from the House, just arrived as well, so I want to recognize him as well. At this point, our town clerk, Eric Smith, will now facilitate the oath of office ceremony for newly elected officials.
Okay. Please welcome Councilmember Ann Rabati and her son, Charlie Rabati, to be sworn into office as a council member on stage by Mayor T.J. Cawley, Town of Morrisville.
Charlie, if you'd like to be right there, and if you're right there, hold it. Left hand down, right hand up. Right hand up. Please repeat after me. I, Ann Rabati, do solemnly and sincerely affirm that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States, that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina and to the constitutional powers and authorities which are or may be established for the government thereof, and that I will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution of said state, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States, to the best of my knowledge and ability. So help me God. I, Ann Rabati, do affirm that I will well and truly execute the duties of my office as council member of the Town of Morrisville according to the best of my skill and ability, according to the law, so help me God. Congratulations. At this time, we're going to sign some documents, and then Ann has a few words.
I would like to thank my family and my friends, everyone who's here tonight to support me. I'm honored and humbled to have been elected to serve the town of Morrisville, and I hope to serve all the citizens well in the coming years. Thank you.
Please welcome Councilmember Donna Fender and her son Evan to be sworn into office as a council member on stage by Jay Tewardry, North Carolina Senate.
Congratulations. Well, thank you.
Okay, you ready to take the oath of office? Okay. Repeat after me. I, Donna Fender,
I, Donna Fender,
do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and the laws of the United States,
and the laws of the United States,
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
and that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
to the state of North Carolina
to the state of North Carolina
and to the constitutional powers
and to the constitutional powers
and authorities which are and may be established,
and to the authorities that
which are
and may be established
or may be established
or may be established
for the government thereof,
for the government thereof,
and that I will endeavor
and that I will endeavor
to support,
to support,
maintain, and defend
maintain, and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
of said state,
of said state,
not inconsistent with the Constitution
not inconsistent with the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge
to the best of my knowledge
and ability,
and ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
I,
I,
Donna Fender,
Donna Fender,
do swear
do swear
that I will well and truly
that I will well and truly
execute the duties of my office
will execute the duties of my office
as mayor of the town. Clearly, this as council of the town, council member of the town of Morrisville,
as council member of the town of Morrisville,
according to the best of my skill
according to the best of my skill
and ability,
and ability,
according to the law,
according to the law,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
That is truly hilarious.
All right, I do have a few comments, and I wanted to make sure that I remembered them all, so I did write them down. First, I'm very honored to be here tonight in front of all of you. Never would have thought that I'd be up in front of so many people and be having this honor to serve the town of Morrisville residents. I want to thank the town staff for all they did to make tonight happen. I want to thank Senator Tewardry for being here tonight and swearing me in. I did not do this alone. I had a small army of friends, family, neighbors, concerned citizens behind me that made this happen. I don't think any of us got here by ourselves. And I met so many kind people, residents of this town during the campaign that truly inspired me and kept me going throughout those 4 months. I do want to especially thank a few people. Steve Lauderdale, who's here tonight with his wife, Beth. He was my advisor on all things public school related and gave me hours of information, feedback, guidance. I also want to thank Bill Dukowitz, who his steadfast support helped sustain me throughout the 4 months as well. Bill Madden, here's who tonight. He tirelessly canvassed for us the last few weeks of the campaign. Also want to mention especially Betsy O'Connor, who wasn't able to make it here tonight. She's in Phoenix being honored herself, receiving an award for her work. She was the mechanics behind the machine and worked tirelessly for us, without being in the spotlight. So I couldn't have done it without her. Lastly, I want to thank my son, who, he's the light of my light and keeps me going. He keeps me grounded, even before the election and during the election. When having a bad day or a hectic day, I can come home and I see him. And he reminds me what really matters in this life. And, he helped maintain the house during the 4 months of chaos and stepped up to the plate, doing laundry, loading the dishwasher, all things that good 14-year-olds need to be doing anyway. So it was a good excuse to get him going with that. So lastly, I do want to say, I believe the Morrisville residents sent a message during this election, and I look forward working with the town council in implementing more environmentally friendly policies in the town. I look forward to working with the town council and the NCDOT being more aggressive in road construction projects, because as we know, they take forever. So we need to get working on them. And the town council, I look forward to working with the town council and continue advocating for public schools in Morrisville. And I'm looking at Chris Haggerty, who I met during the campaign. And I look forward to maintaining that relationship moving forward. The last couple of days, I've had words from Mother Teresa running around in my head, and I'd like to repeat them here tonight. Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow has not yet come. We have only today. Let us begin. Thank you.
Please welcome Councilmember Liz Johnson and her husband Kevin to be sworn into office as a council member on stage by Representative Gail Adcock, North Carolina House of Representatives.
I, Liz Johnson,
do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and laws of the United States,
and laws of the United States,
that I will be faithful
that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to the state of North Carolina
to the state of North Carolina
and to the constitutional powers
and to the constitutional powers
and authorities which are
and authorities which are
or may be established
or may be established
for the government thereof,
for the government thereof,
and that I will endeavor
and that I will endeavor
to support, maintain, and defend
maintain, and defend
the Constitution of said state
the Constitution of said state faith,
not inconsistent with
not inconsistent with
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
so help me God.
so help me God. I, Liz Johnson,
Do swear
do swear
that I will well and truly
that I will well and truly
execute the duties of my office
execute the duties of my office
as council member of the town of Morrisville
as council member of the town of Morrisville
according to the best of my skill
according to the best of my skill
and ability,
and ability,
according to the law,
according to the law,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
I usually talk incredibly loud, so with the mic, it might get worse. In this season where we reflect on our blessings and all that we are grateful for, I have a couple of people that I also want to thank tonight. And I want to start with Representative Gail Adcock. Gail, thank you for being here tonight to help me on this moment that is so important. I appreciate you being here. I so admire and respect the work that you do as a public servant, and it was important for me to have somebody that I respected that much here. So thank you for all you do for our citizens here in Morrisville. If you do not know Representative Gail Adcock, you need to meet her. She is an excellent representative and cares about each and one of us in our city. So thank you, Gail, for being here. Second, I want to, not that this has anything to do with my campaign, but I think it's really important as we close 2019, I need to thank our staff. I am incredibly proud of the men and women that come here day in and day out to make this town the great place that it is. And those of you who have heard me speak in the past, you know I talk about how welcoming this town is, how proud I am of the fact that we are the most welcoming, diverse, and inclusive small town in North Carolina. And I would argue we're the most welcoming, inclusive, and diverse town in this country. And a lot of that has to do with not only the people in this room, but the staff that does the work for us day in and day out. So I want to extend my thanks to our town manager, Martha Page, with her leadership. Our staff does an incredible job. They are small but mighty. So thank you. Extend my thanks to everyone as well, though I know there's a lot of staff here tonight too. Next, I also want to thank my family. My mom is here, my sisters and their family, and my husband, Kevin. I'm going to get emotional too. They are my biggest cheerleaders, and I could not do what I do, and for all the years that I've been doing it, without them. My girls, for the first time, are not here as I've taken an oath of office, but they are watching. They both work for the federal government, so they are doing exactly, and they are where they should be right now, doing exactly what they need to do as public servants working for our country. So I miss them being here, but I know they're watching. And to my husband, Kevin, I could not do this. This man keeps me sane in all those moments when I think I may lose it. So without him, I could not do this. And then lastly, and probably most importantly, I want to thank all of you that are here in this room and all of the citizens of this great town. You show me support day in and day out, and that means a great deal to me, and I thank you for that. Your confidence in me means a great deal to me. And so I commit to you that I will do what I've done for all the past 20 years, that I will steadfastly be a representative for each and every one of you. I will work my hardest to make sure that you are all heard and that your voices are incorporated in all that we do here for you. So thank you for your trust and your confidence in me. Thank you.
please welcome Councilmember Satish Garamella, his family, his supporters, and Dr. G.D. Sharma to be sworn into office as a council member on stage by Associate Justice Anita Earls, North Carolina Supreme Court.
Would you place your left hand and raise your right? Thank you. I, Satish Garamella,
I, Satish Garimella,
do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution and laws of the United States,
the Constitution and the laws of the United States,
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
to the state of North Carolina
to the state of North Carolina,
and to the constitutional powers and authorities
to the constitutional powers and authorities
which are or may be established
which are or may be established
for the government thereof,
for the government thereof,
and that I will endeavor to support,
that I will endeavor to support,
maintain, and defend
maintain, and defend
the Constitution of said state,
the Constitution of the said states,
not inconsistent with
not inconsistent with
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
I, Satish Garamella,
I, Satish Garimella,
do swear
do swear
that I will well and truly execute
that I will well and truly execute
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
as council member
as council member
of the town of Morrisville,
town of Morrisville,
according to the best
according to the best
of my skill and ability,
of my skill and ability,
according to the law,
according to the law,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
First, I appreciate so many of my friends here and leaders with us tonight. Thank you. I would like to thank the Congressman Price's office, Sarah, for coming here, and my mentors, like I always talk, is Jay, Gail, Sig, and, Matt. We go on, and they have been really helpful. I want to acknowledge Wiley, my good friend Chris, who always we talk about the schools, and all my friends here. For me, looking at this crowd makes me feel very proud. And I would like to start off with why I feel so. And to start with that, I'm especially pleased with Justice Earls, who agreed to perform my swearing-in honors, assisted by Dr. G.D. Sharma, who importantly recently received the Order of the Longleaf Pine, North Carolina's highest civilian award, for his lifelong impact on the state. Thank you. Thank you so much, and thank you so much, Dr. Sharma, for doing this. This is very important for me, and I'm very glad you both were a part of it. Then, I would like to say, when I joined the council 4 years ago, little did I know that how much I really did not know. My grasp of the legalities and the limitations, the systems and the process, the roles of the leaders from the county to the frontline staff, I was completely missing, or lacking in some cases. Candidly, it took me 2 years to really understand and come up to speed and be more effective, given the complexities and the personalities. I mention this because I need to thank some important people for their mentorship and guidance, and then thank another collective friends. This will be shorter, I promise you, than what I say. I will be egregiously and inappropriately brief when describing each. First and important, let me tell you, my thanks to Martha and her staff, who have patiently educated me and cultivated me from a novice to public service. Thank you so much. I'm proud of our work together over the last 4 years, and I'm glad that will continue over my second term. My respect to the rest of the staff here and your devotion to Morrisville is real and boundless. Thank you so much. I can see the entire staff from Chief Andrews to Chief Criddle and the rest of the planning team, and you have Shandy and the rest of the other teams. Thank you so much, because it is you all who keep us sitting where we are. Without you, we are nowhere. Thank you. Then, I would like to thank, secondly, the leaders beyond Morrisville. We have our staff and the county levels and the state and federal. I have represented Morrisville on several issues. I'm talking about NCDOT, or say Wake County School System, or the school board, or basically the Wake County commissioners, or working with our legislators and their counterparts in Washington, D.C. or New York. I believe our town's success is measured on how well we collaborate with our regional partners and national partners. And collectively, we promote the strong alliance for Morrisville. Our overall progress of Morrisville has been excellent. Think about it. Over the last 4 years, we have invested more than $300 million in road improvements and committed over $200 million towards the K-12 and adult education, like the Wake Tech campus. Also, we want to realize that we are all a part of it, and I'm very thankful for the council and the rest of us who work diligently towards it. Third, it has been my most productive pleasure working with the Morrisville Chamber of Commerce and the business leaders around the region. Our business partners have spent and contributed towards many road improvements, and I anticipate their partnership will help us promote for the Morrisville's youth partnership with as our schools develop. During my first 4 years, Morrisville had close to 4,000 new jobs in public sector, and I'm proud of that partnership. Fourth, let me express my appreciation to the councils and the mayors that I have worked with. Thank you. With whom I have served. Each one of us thinks independently and votes independently. Each of our votes are documented in our minutes. And I am very, very happy to say there were many cases I have opposed each one and supported each one. And each one of you have disagreed with me several times. So I consider that a value of their judgment and wisdom. And I look forward to collaboratively working with the new council. Lastly, I confronted with some medical challenges during my campaign season. Like many, I had to undergo a back surgery. My supporters, without urging or oversight, managed and campaigned on my behalf. Imagine how humbling it is that makes me feel to say nothing of my gratitude tonight. If you aspire to become an elected official and want to know the secret of winning, your priority should be in the friendships you cultivate. Tonight, I am blessed with all the friendship beyond my ability to fully describe. I really, really thank my supporters here. Thank you. And of course, but not the least, I express my love and appreciation to my family, Bhanu, who is not able to be here today, and to my son, Vaibhav, who at my previous swearing in was a 4th grader. Now he's an 8th grader and taller than me. So I really thanks because the amount of hours that we work outside of our family life is something that they are understanding, and they understand and they say, we are used to it, you know. So as also, I would really, really thank my parents, Dr. Ramarao and Dr. Rohini Devi Garimella. I would not say the amount of support that my dad keeps talking about me. Sometimes I ponder middle of the night, thinking in the corridor, he'll come and say, what's your problem? And we discuss, and that enlightens me and takes me the next step. Thanks so much. And tonight, I would say, Mr. Mayor, and my thanks to all the Morrisville residents. It's an honor of serving the town of Morrisville. And I yield the floor. Thank you so much.
Now we have installed our new council, and in order to celebrate, we'd like to take a 30-minute recess so everyone can enjoy each other's company out in the hallway. So we're going to reconvene at 7:25. Thank you very much for coming, everyone. We look forward to talking to you now. (7:27). We are back in session. Thank you very much for everyone. That was a very great reception. We really appreciate your support of our new council. Now we are at council comments. I'd like to begin with Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. Wow, what a tremendous year we've had at the town of Morrisville. We have begun many projects with our roads and our parks, and we're looking forward to many new things in 2020. But the library is one of my favorite projects that I've seen unfold this year, and I am so looking forward to seeing that. Staff, thank you to my fellow council members, and I hope everybody has a fantastic break at the end of the year. Remember to rest, enjoy your family and friends, and get ready for a fantastic 2020. So with that, happy holidays and happy 2020.
Great. Councilmember Rao?
Okay. I've always promised my council that I would try to not make comments, but today is the least amount of comments I've made ever. 9 words. Congratulations, Liz, Satish, Donna, and Ann. Let's get to work.
Okay. Great. Councilmember Johnson, can you beat that?
I'm a little stunned. That was Thank you, Steve. I too want to say welcome to Ann and Donna. It is really a pleasure to have a full slate of council members again up here on the dais. So as I look up and down, it's really nice to see everybody in a seat. So welcome. I too want to, I did kind of give my thanks to staff earlier, but also want to, I failed to thank staff's family as well. As we've heard, family is greatly affected by public service, and they sacrifice probably more than we know. So I want to say thank you again to all our staff, to your family. We had a fabulous 2019, and I am looking forward to 2020.
Wonderful. Councilmember Garamella?
I agree. I think we had a wonderful reception, and thanks to staff and Eric, Aaron, for handling this and doing everything perfectly. It means a lot. Thank you so much. And during this time of the year, we usually see slowdown, but I don't see any slowdown with our town here. You know, like the projects are continuing and churning away, and it's good that many projects are coming. I don't know the date for Macroman Phase 2. Might be around the corner, and the library, I think, is coming. And so good things, and I'm hoping that will help alleviate some of the traffic that we are having. Because today, a lot of the people were complaining, you know, they were like almost 10 to 20 minutes late. That was one of the reasons I wanted 6:30, by the way, you know, like so that it's easy and with the daily commutes. But again, thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to working with the new council. Congratulations, Donna and Ann, and let's keep working. Thank you.
Member Fender, would you like to share anything?
Sure, I'm just excited to be here. I'm excited to start working with the staff and getting to know the town council members better and working with all of you. Thank you.
Councilmember Rabati.
I'd like to thank Martha and the staff. The last few weeks have been a blur of onboarding, and you've all been great, so thank you very much. And I would just like to say that I'm very excited to be here, very excited to learn from you all, and very excited to work with you. So thank you.
For all of us, that we're all very excited at the possibilities of this new council. So welcome to both of you. Thank you to staff for a really great year and for a really good tree lighting last Friday, which was really wonderful as well. And we're looking forward to getting a lot of things done over the next couple of years. So thank you all very much. Our next item on the agenda is public address, number 12. I understand there's no one signed up for public address at this time. So we'll move on to item number 13, selection of Mayor Pro Tem. So at this time, we would entertain motions to nominate for the Mayor Pro Tem from this group, and then we'll take a vote after that, after some discussion if there's more than one nomination. I'd entertain a nomination for Mayor Pro Tem.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to nominate Liz Johnson as Mayor Pro Tem for the term 2020 to 2019 to 2021.
I believe that's accurate.
And I'd like to justify my nomination as well, if that's okay.
Of course.
Okay. Liz Johnson has served on the Morrisville Town Council for several terms. I believe this is your 6th term. But that alone does not make her suitable for the Mayor Pro Tem position. Liz is a leader. She has been a leader since she joined the Town Council. Most recently, she has served as president of the Women in Municipal Government for the state of North Carolina. She has served on the North Carolina League of Municipalities as a board member. Her leadership is evident in her love for not only the town of Morrisville, but the state of North Carolina. She has accomplished many things on the Morrisville Community Fund, and she is tirelessly serving the public in helping them understand and appreciate the complexities of our town and our county and our state. So therefore, I would really appreciate your support in promoting Liz to the Mayor Pro Tem position.
Okay, so we have one nomination. Would anyone else like to submit any other nominations for Mayor Pro Tem at this time? Okay, hearing none other, I'd entertain a motion to appoint Liz Johnson as Mayor Pro Tem.
So moved.
Second.
And a second. Well, that was a nomination. Now we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor of Liz Johnson being Mayor Pro Tem, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
One vote
that
only.
Carries unanimously 7-0 for the first time in a while, so thank you very much. Congratulations, Mayor Pro Tem Johnson. Would you like to say a few words?
Well, I got a little verklempt earlier today, so after all of, thank you, Vicki. I really appreciate that. I was going to say a few things about Vicki as well. First of all, thank you for the nomination, that you have nominated me for this honor. Is an honor. So I appreciate that. Thank you. And I wanted, Vicki was our Mayor Pro Tem for the last 2 years and did an exceptional job. There were many meetings that Vicki had to run, and unfortunately some were last minute due to illness, and she did them with grace and skill, and was a great leader for this council in those moments. So I want to extend my thanks to you, Vicki, for what you have done for the council and your leadership as well. So I appreciate the nomination very much, and I appreciate everybody's support as well. Thank you for that.
I would like to also echo Liz's words that Mayor Pro Tem, you've been wonderful, and thank you very much for all of your support and all your help. Learning to do the mayor's duties is challenging, so I really appreciated your assistance. Okay. Our next item on the agenda is 14 action items. There are 4 action items on the agenda this evening: a resolution appointing the 2020 chair and vice chair for the Planning and Zoning Board, a resolution appointing the 2020 chair and vice chair for the Board of Adjustment, a resolution approving the 2020 Town Council meeting schedule, and a resolution appointing Town Council members to regional committee vacancies. I'll invite Michelle Stiegel, current planning manager, for item facilitation.
Thank you, Mayor. So as you indicated, you do have some chair and vice chair appointments on your agenda this evening. The first is appointment to the Planning and Zoning Board. Per the UDO, the Planning and Zoning Board did discuss and make nominations at their last meeting for Peter Pritchard as chair and Lee Langston as vice chair. And per code, that recommendation is being forwarded to you this evening.
Discussion on this item? I would entertain a motion to approve as suggested.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that carries unanimously 7-0. We have a chair. Thank you again for your service, Mr. Pritchard. I see you in the audience.
Likewise, at their November meeting, the Board of Adjustment considered and made recommendations to Town Council for chair and vice chair, recommending Tina Berry for chair and Patty Chang for vice chair.
Discussion on that suggested. Okay, I'd entertain a motion.
I move that we.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that carries unanimously 7-0 as well, and I see Ms. Patty Chang is in the audience. Thank you again for your service on that committee. I'll now call on Martha Page, Town Manager, to facilitate our next item, the Town Council meeting schedule. Ms. Page.
There's no.
Thank you, Mayor. One of the first items of business council undertakes at the end of a year for the next year is the acceptance of a meeting calendar for a schedule of meetings for the upcoming year. That is primarily to promote transparency and comply with open meetings law to let people know when council's meeting and encourage participation in that. The schedule that's been proposed for 2020 is a very similar schedule to what we've observed in 2019. It includes both our regular meetings on the second Tuesdays and fourth Tuesdays that begin at 6 p.m. In addition to those regular meetings, we have included on this proposed schedule of meetings a retreat, a winter retreat in January 24th through 26th. We'll be talking about that a little bit later in a work session item. We have 6 work sessions on the Monday preceding the second meeting of the month to talk about roundtable items and bring forth informational and discussion items not requiring a vote to town council that has allowed us to effectively manage some of our meeting times and continue to advance discussions this year. Those occur in months where I'll say something else isn't really happening, so they are in February, March, April, June, September, and October, and we sort of skip the holiday months. That has worked effectively for us, and staff supports bringing forward those for your consideration again this year. And then May, there are quite a number of additional work meeting dates proposed. This is to assist and facilitate in the review of our budget in May and in June. We do not know at this time that all of those dates might be needed, but based on some experience, it's better to get them on the calendar and cancel them if we don't need them than try to find a time when council members can meet. They are all on, I believe, Tuesdays and Thursdays, which has at least worked effectively as we've attempted to schedule special meetings in the past. I'm happy to talk about the schedule. We have an attachment that council can put on their calendars, these meetings, all in one fell swoop. Staff is also working on some additional calendaring options for our events as well as others, and work is still in progress on that.
Have any questions or comments for Councilmember Scroggins-Johnson, please?
Thank you, Mayor. One of the challenges that I have with the budget is that we have a lot of meetings in May and we need to approve it pretty soon. Is there possibility of having an April meeting that is closer to the middle of April and then we don't have as many May meetings? Because I think we need some time to read, absorb, ask questions, and not every single week. So that's my concern, is that we're not having that read earlier in the middle of April. And I don't know if that's something that's shared, but it's more helpful for me to get a little earlier time.
Thank you. I will acknowledge that Jeannie and I spent hours looking at ways to potentially expedite and move forward items, in particular this year with property revaluation and when we expect to get sort of final information and when we get the forecasts. Candidly, we didn't think we could do it any earlier. We spent lots of time looking. We did implement some additional things last year during some of those work sessions, which was budget forecasts and pre-budget discussions that I think we can still use some of those meetings productively prior to actually receiving a budget document that may help. And we're happy to work with you on what kinds of items we can bring forward for discussion. We gave it our best effort.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But do you mean like the March 23rd and April 27th meetings might have some budget flavoring?
We did exactly that last year. We used some of the work sessions in February, March, and April to bring forth budget items. It wasn't the budget document and budget message.
Not just revaluation that's going to determine where we are.
Correct.
Thoughts?
We're going to be talking about the retreat. I'm sorry. May I
Go on, please. Yes.
We're going to be talking about retreat. I had a feeling it was going to be on the 24th, but I'd be traveling back from somewhere, so I guess we'll be working on where it's going to be and when it starts, so I know how I can.
We're going to talk about that a little bit later.
Thank you.
And this, like any other document that we approve, the schedule, it can be adjusted as necessary later. This is
That's
pretty
correct.
firm, but if we need to add something or if we need to move something around, that would be possible. Okay. I'd entertain a motion to approve the town council schedule for 2020 as suggested by staff.
So moved.
I'll second.
In favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that carries unanimously 7-0.
Thank you.
Our next item. I'll invite Eric Smith, Town Clerk, to the podium for our final action item, the resolution appointing town council members to regional committee vacancies.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. Town council members play active roles on several local committees and boards. And currently, appointments for these boards, my apologies. Currently, reconsideration for appointment of these boards or council will need to continue to allow currently serving members to retain their positions and fill any remaining vacancies. Current appointments for council members were provided within attachment 1 in your briefing, along with descriptions and additional items and additional information for each committee. I am happy to provide further information if needed.
You could bring up the resolution itself with the sort of blank things. I had the opportunity to speak to I think all the council about these. So I've suggested,
Mayor,
that's the past.
the past one or the blank one?
The blank one.
The blank, yes, sir.
Go over what I suggested, and that can be a starting point for our discussion this evening. From the top, for Campo, this is just a suggestion that we can change. Cawley as the appointee and Vicki Scroggins-Johnson as the alternate. For Triangle J Council of Governments, Councilmember Garamella as the appointee and Councilmember Rao as the alternate. For Triangle J Center of the Enterprise Corps, Councilmember Fender as the appointee, Vicki Scroggins-Johnson as the appointee, and Martha Page as the staff. Smart Growth Collaborative, Councilmember Rabati as the appointee, Councilmember Rao as the alternate. Western Wake Partners Policy Advisory Committee, Cawley as the appointee, Page as the staff, and Jordan Lake One Water, Mayor Pro Tem Johnson as the appointee. Now we can open discussion. That's just a starting point. Councilmember Scroggins-Johnson.
Mayor, I did not hear Councilmember Rao's name associated with it, so I would be happy to step back from the core and allow for Councilmember Rao to be
Interested in the alternate slot of Smart Growth?
Is that available?
Well, if he moves to the appointee there, or he could do both. It was just a thought. I was trying to even things out.
Let's hear from Councilmember Rao.
Your
what
thoughts?
he would like.
Well, I'm currently a co-chair of the Smart Growth Collaborative Water Resources with Mayor. I don't think it would affect my ability to do that still, but I don't know going into this meeting. If I found out it doesn't, I could just.
Also be a living document. We could adjust.
Could we do that? Could I find out and then you could serve on that?
We will leave the assignments as is.
As is,
tonight,
and I will chat
and then
with
we
them.
will revise as needed.
Yes.
Okay, that seems fair.
So you would stay as core
Yes.
appointee? You would stay as.
Yeah,
Is that what we're
or what I'm saying is if I can chair the collaborative, then you could be the alternate for Smart Growth and I could be the core appointee. up to you. If you want to stay on core, then that's,
So the reason core was optimal for me is, one, it involves RTP, and the other is the meeting schedule is more appropriate for my work schedule.
okay, so would you rather stay on?
Yeah, that would be,
Okay,
as long as you have a Triangle J committee. That's what my goal is,
So
for
smart growth
everybody
is
to
that.
have the opportunity, yes.
okay, that's fine then.
Thank you. I appreciate your input as well.
These are appointments by the entire board, so does anyone have any other thoughts? Yes, Councilmember
I agree. I
Garamella.
think when I looked at the list, I didn't see anything for Steve. I think it's fair. Somewhere he is an appointee rather than just an alternate. You know, he has been there in the council for a long time, and he represents all these areas pretty good. So if Steve and you are fine, then I know he loves the Triangle Cog, and he's most welcome because he will be attending more than I do. But at the same time, I think if the work schedules don't work, and if I need to change, I'll be back here asking for the revision.
So as of now, we're keeping August Johnson on the core.
Correct. Fender and Scroggins Johnson are core.
Okay.
And you have 2 alternate slots within TJ Cog.
Yeah, that was my only concern, is being a senior member of the council, I'm going into this term. I personally do not agree with, but that's the will of the council, so I will.
Well, we're going on the assumption at this point that you'll be co-chair of the Smart Growth Committee, essentially.
But you need to be appointee, I believe.
It's okay. I mean, I don't want to blabber over this. I think I'm fine with it, and I'll find other things to work on. So, discussion.
Thank you for that. Any other thoughts on any of the other committee appointments? I'd love to hear a motion from one of our new council members to approve this item. If anyone wishes to do that. Move to approve?
Move to approve.
Second?
Okay, any more discussion on this item? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that carries unanimously 7-0. Thank you, everyone, for that discussion. At this point, we're at number 15, future meetings, events, and citizen involvement opportunities as we're coming into the holidays. We're sort of winding down, although staff will be working 365, 24 hours a day for us. Saturday, December 21st, there's Cocoa with a Cop, and that's going to be at the police offices, 260 Town Hall Drive. That's from 5 till 8 p.m. There's going to be a tour, story time, cider, and cocoa. We hope that a lot of our residents can come visit us there. Our police department has been very good about being out on social media and publicizing that. So we're looking forward to seeing a lot of people at that. At this time, we will take a 5-minute break, and we'll be reconvening down on the floor for a work session, and we're going to be discussing the winter retreat planning. Okay, so we'll come back at, let's say, 8 o'clock. We have one work session this evening, Town Council Winter Retreat Planning. I'll call on Martha Page, Town Manager, to facilitate our discussion. Ms. Page.
Thank you, Mayor, and I really, truly appreciate you taking a few minutes to talk about this now. It allows us to hear from you on what you're looking for from your retreat and then gives staff the maximum amount of time to present. I'll provide a quick overview. Since I've been here, council has alternated going out of town. Typically, following an election, it allows for council to socialize and spend some time together outside of just the work meeting, and we've stayed in town. That's not a rule. That's not a guideline. It is what we have done, and we have been to several different places. Some have included tours. I'll call them mobile workshops. 2 years ago, we went to Kannapolis to see their downtown area as an example. We were in New Bern and took a tour of New Bern, and we won't talk anymore about that one. We've been in RTP, we've been in buildings here, we've been in Perimeter Park. So the options are really driven by what we want our retreat to be. I've had some conversation with Eric Thomas about whether there were any I'll call it public-private partnership projects that might be valuable for us to look at. Making sure I'm very clear that Morrisville is very unique and there are no projects like ours where we're really trying to create a downtown from scratch. But there are some models out there that you could get some visual looks if you want to incorporate something like that in your retreat. I'll also offer, if you choose something like that, it also limits the amount of content we can talk. So that's one of the choices that you have to talk about and discuss and make. We have also at times done some social opportunities where available, and all of those things would potentially impact where we might look at where we would want to go if council wants to go out of town. As Councilmember Rao mentioned, we also have to build time in for travel for an out-of-town retreat. I'm going to ask Erin to just provide council with some info. She's done some preliminary exploration. We have typically limited that to a 2-hour travel window. Again, what we've done, not a rule. So if council wants to explore something different, we could talk about that. So, Erin?
By air or by road?
Thank you, Town Manager Page. Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Town Manager Page is correct. Typically, what we have looked at is trying to stay within that 2-hour travel window, recognizing that we do have several council members who work, wanting to be respectful of that, and then also still allowing for some opportunity either that Friday afternoon or Friday evening for, again, either a social time or some kind of preliminary retreat type discussions. So typically, that agenda, as Town Manager Page is laid out in front of you, is a Friday afternoon, early evening, all day Saturday, and half a day Sunday. So as we started exploring, kind of what we realized is that 2-hour window limits us a little bit. Some of the locations we have looked at, really just in our initial exploration, is the Ocean Isle Sunset Beach area, which is about 3 hours and some change. We do have some limitations there with a coastal area in the off-season, some challenges with finding meeting space. Might have some options for a place to stay, but do have some challenges with meeting space. And really what we're looking for is somewhere we can stay and meet, looking for a nicer hotel because we are going to be there a few days. Some options for some of that outside exploration, be it a place to visit, a place to socialize, something for council to see and bring information back, and then also places to eat because we don't want to be stuck in the hotel for every meal. So again, just some of the parameters that we're trying to work within. So the Ocean Isle Sunset Beach area, we have also looked at Pinehurst. We have looked at the Greensboro High Point area. We have looked at Beaufort, also along the coast. And then we have looked at Matthews, Pineville, and Huntersville. So we've really kind of gone from the center of the state and almost as far east as you can go. So really, I think the conversation Town Manager Page and I have had, and probably discussion for you all, is what travel time you're willing to or would want to engage in, and really what you want from your retreat. And I think that's the conversation Town Manager Page will engage with you tonight, and I'm happy to answer any questions as well.
So a couple additional comments. Out of all of those places that Erin has mentioned, the only one that has current availability for both accommodations, meeting space, and eating is Pinehurst. So that's one. The other option of the Matthews, Pineville, and Huntersville, there are public-private partnership developments in those 3 areas that you may wish to consider. They're all unique, they're all different. DFI has been involved in some aspect or another of those. If that's an interest, we would have to coordinate and explore that option. And that is really in a Charlotte area. Huntersville, not that far, nor is Pineville. And I'll also answer any questions. We're happy to consider other locations you may want to consider.
And one option also is to go down as a group using a bus, or would it be individual transportation generally? We've sort of done it both ways.
Yeah, I mean, those options are sort of logistical after the fact. We have taken a bus, I think, twice. And then council members that may have some conflicts have come by themselves. 2 years ago, we took a train to Kannapolis. That would potentially also be an option for Charlotte, but the travel times are very restrictive for when the train goes back and forth.
Okay, the only reason I ask is some people might be more willing to travel further if they don't have to do the driving themselves. It might be a little easier. Does anyone have any thoughts about what they've heard?
I have a question about Pinehurst. Now, that doesn't have a DFI project, so what aspects, would we have tours and stuff?
You probably would not. That would be a purely content-driven retreat in a very nice location. If I could just divert you to the schedule, what we've tried to illustrate is the template that we've used for the past couple retreats, and how it works is without trying to make it an unbearably lengthy meeting, because it doesn't look like much, but it's a draining meeting. There's lots of stuff going on at this retreat. It is definitely not, fun and games. But you really only have 7 blocks of 2-hour times that is sort of the programming time frame we used. And so anything you do will reduce that. That's really only 14 hours for a whole weekend, depending on what you want the components of the retreat to be. But there's nothing identified in the Pinehurst area if you want that as a component of your retreat. And we have not verified that those opportunities exist. That one is really, do you want us to explore that? And we would work with DFI to see if that, they aren't playing the same role as they are with us in some of these other projects.
Councilmember Rabati?
Yes, I'd like to know if we did choose Pinehurst and there was no opportunity for a tour, would that mean that we could add something to this list of potential discussion topics, for example, environmental initiatives that we might undertake, or something of that nature?
The purpose of this work session is to have council talk about the things they want. These are items that staff indicates would be good uses of your time, but this is just a conversation starter. This is what we want you to do, is talk about the things you want to talk about, really with each other. There's many things you have to talk about that we can more effectively do here in a work session, especially if staff is providing council information more than the time you need to spend talking to each other about the things that you want to talk about. So this is not it. This is just some potential topics you could consider. I would advocate strongly for some of these, I acknowledge, but it's your discussion that you give us direction on.
So just to, so if there was a content tour in regards to a public-private partnership, would that take away one of the 2-hour slots?
At least.
Okay, so that's how that
At
would
least one.
influence that. So, Mayor Protem.
So I was going to ask if, Martha, does it make more sense to talk about what we want to talk about at the retreat and then decide if there's time?
Happy to do it that way.
We might want to have that discussion first. And then I will tell you, one of the things I was going to ask is if we were going to pick a location, let's pick one where there's a DFI project. And the Matthews, Huntersville, Davidson area councils many years ago did do a trip there, and I will tell you it was fabulous. You were not on that. Were you on that trip? Okay. I'm sorry?
It was kind of planning, zoning.
The Planning and Zoning Board went, council went, and it was very good. So I would, if that was the desire to see a project and to actually do a tour, I would echo that location for sure.
Matthews, to be specific? Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, Matthews is a public project that a town hall area, and I'll call it a very small main street, was incorporated into a campus in their center of their town. That is probably the most similar to what council may be talking about here. Not exactly. It is mostly a public amenity project. The Burkdale Village is what is in Huntersville, and Pinedale is just a mixed use. That's where you're going to see, I think, more your residential, mixed use, density, how things fit together with parking and commercial. Not exactly, but those concepts are going to be more similar to what we're talking about here for our town center. Perhaps not how it's coming together in the financial relationships, but the look and the feel might be something that council could look at.
I would totally echo that, because that was a brand new development, and we're talking about a brand new development, whereas Matthews was it was an older portion of the town, and they kind of built onto it. So yeah, I echo that totally.
How much time are we going to spend on these kind of projects? Like, you're talking about Matthews. Is it going to take a half a day? Because I'm thinking location should not be an issue, because it's other than going out, knowing each other and exploring, but it's mostly we'll be locked down talking about topics, because the bond referendum is an important one that I am very much interested in, and those kind of discussions. We have a lot of things on our plate already that we need to start, getting out. So for me, location, it doesn't really matter. It's more of the content of what we can get out of it. It's more important.
Okay. Point well taken, Councilmember Pender.
Well, I like the idea of going to the Pineville, Huntersville area to look at that project. Sounds very interesting. I was interested in the Ocean Isle, Sunset Beach area, just because I'm very familiar with that area, and I was just there recently. And I noticed Sunset Beach has a development that they've recently done on the mainland area where they have a planetarium, and they've brought in townhomes, and there's retail apartments, which may be why it came up on this list. But they have where they look like they've taken some sort of initiative of creating a downtown or town center in Sunset Beach. And I think it's just a neat, it's a nice area in that they have the museum and the planetarium, and that they're building up. It looks like they're creating a town center as well.
Okay. Councilmember Scroggin-Johnson.
Thank you. I would like to go to a location where we can learn. We're forming a brand new council. We need some time to kind of see a new perspective collectively. That soft skill, that soft, opportunity, instead of just meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting. We need to have that time. Going to Huntersville or Pineville will allow us to see something as a body and to spark maybe some inspiration as to what we want our town center to be. We are progressing that project, but yet we have 2 more members. And so I think it's important that we open that up and so that we all have a new experience, and that will help build the council. And that's something that is not just a meeting, but it's something that we need together. And that's what the retreat is for. So I hope that we can talk about, whether it's on the coast or towards Charlotte, what we can do about that. The second thing is on the topics. I would like to know more about the property reevaluation for Wake County and the census is coming up in 2 hours, but we should be able to understand the impact of the census coming up and what that might mean, because there's been so much growth in surrounding communities like Apex and Fuquay Varina, and that will be competing for the same dollars. And with a census that gets redistributed, so that will affect how we get revenue from Wake County. And I want a little preview, if we have one, to better understand that.
So that is definitely a topic we have. It's one that we would recommend. You can do that effectively here. In a work session. It's one of those topics that helps build the budget that we could talk about in February, March, April. Forecasting, it allows Jeannie to get more accurate information. And the policy discussions around the budget would be more viable. That's not the right word, but discussing amongst yourself at a retreat policies related to how you want to approach your budget is a good topic when you're away at a retreat. We're going to be providing you information and facts, but we can do that in an hour work session here to help build that, would be our recommendation. Just the focus of staff just giving you information is more effective here. We have to, we do watch what we spend on these things. The more staff that has to go, the more complex those things get. But that's more of a cut and dried that we can provide here and allow you to use your time at the retreat a little bit more effectively.
I appreciate that explanation. I'm just hoping we can have that sooner than May.
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
One perspective I'd like to bring is I think that as we look at the remaining amount of Morrisville that we have to build out, just getting a refresher of our land use. And I've had some conversations with Councilmember Fender on some of the things she brought up during the campaign on tree preservation and looking at sort of the way we're building out in the future. But also, we tend to get multifamily development later in the process. And I'd like to get like a snapshot of, where in the town administrative approval of multifamily versus the rezonings that we've had in the past, just to get a lay of the look of just as we look at the next 2 years, so we get a better sense of what is coming down the pike. And I don't know whether that's possible.
So you're getting your land use plan preliminary draft recommendations at your January 14th town council meeting. That will help you continue to promote that discussion about land use. The second thing you mentioned, Councilmember Rao, is really one of the things that I would capture in this proposed topic of UDO flexibility and the things that you might want to consider about what your policies that you put in as the rules that guide development is a great topic for a retreat.
Okay.
It's under that umbrella.
It and many of the other things you might ask or want to talk about development related. I would consider environmental sustainability things as a part of that UDO discussion. That is where those decisions are being driven from.
And kind of a density discussion too, right?
Correct.
So that's one thing that I think is on a lot of people's minds. So Councilmember Garamella, just second, Councilmember Fender, and then Councilmember Garamella.
Well, I wanted to piggyback on what Manager Page just mentioned with the UDO. I definitely would want that as a topic for the retreat, specifically looking at our tree protection plan and look at what the other municipalities are doing in our area, specifically Holly Springs. They just came up with that's been recommended by the Sierra Club, their tree protection program. And I'd like for us to look at benchmarking against Holly Springs or town of Apex modifying the UDO for that.
I think it's very helpful to staff when we can point towards best practices, and they can bring that back to us
Right.
in a framed way. So thank you for that. Go on.
I got one more
Finish up.
thing
Yeah, sure.
I wanted to mention. I do think the environmental initiatives may want to be a separate topic and not come under the umbrella of the UDO, because some of those energy initiatives would be done by the town of Morrisville and wouldn't be affected by the UDO. So I would like to see that as a separate topic, specifically looking at solar panels and what other potential energy savings and environmental protection initiatives the town can do.
Okay. And we've often sort of put that under the umbrella for sustainability.
Okay.
So that might be
Yeah.
a thought of a topic in that direction that's not so direct UDO, but more proactive and program-driven rather than policy-driven. Councilmember Garamella, thanks for your patience.
My question is that when we are talking with UDO flexibilities, I'll be very honest, I tried to read our UDO document several times and it's not easy. So if we are going to have that kind of a discussion, it is better to give us more preview before that we can talk on those topics, so that at least we understand and be contributing to it. Otherwise, just exposure at that time, it's very hard to see which ones are we really talking about.
So I will candidly acknowledge, if you want that, it makes it difficult for us to prepare for a January retreat. What might be more helpful is how, rather than reading the UDO, is allow staff to share how it works and how to find information that you need.
Yeah, now,
that would be something that might be more helpful than just reading the UDO.
No, I meant to say in terms of purely the flexibility and updates that the staff is suggesting. So at least read those sections, then it's easy to basically contribute and find out what's the best way we can work around it, because live examples are one and textbooks are one.
So just a couple things to consider. I would tell you that a town center discussion is at least 1 2-hour block of discussion, potentially 2. That does not include a tour. A tour, especially if you want to see more than one places, could be half a day. The UDO discussion is at least 2 blocks. So just food for thought.
So the UDO, is it possible to frame it in such a way you sort of present us choices or flavors rather than, so we could go this way on this topic, this way. We react better to being given choices.
And that was the way it was done when this was discussed 3 years ago, I believe. We were over at Welcome Federal Credit Union. I think Courtney spent 4 hours going over flexibility options. Council still was challenged during that discussion to make choices. It's a big topic.
And that's when we went over the airport overlay a little bit.
Yeah, there were many things in there.
Understood. Let's try to circle back to, and then we'll get to you. Let's hear from everybody about their thoughts about whether or not we need a public-private partnership or if Pinehurst is still on the table. I heard Councilmember Garamella indicating that he doesn't want to spend too much time on the tour. He wants to be in the content. So maybe if we want to think about limiting our tour or non-content stuff to 1 block. Does anyone have any thoughts? I see you're sort of questioning.
I think we need to first pick a location and then determine how much time we invest. Again, we need some time to just see other towns. And I know half a day is scary, but maybe we only need, 3 hours. But I don't know unless I know what town, and what that town might offer us. Right?
So I've heard a number of people say they're interested in something like that. So I wanted to say that I also favor that. I don't think we've heard from Steve on that issue, so that's why I'm trying to make sure that staff hears from everybody what their thoughts are on that broad.
Right.
Councilmember Rao, do you have any thoughts about whether or not 7 two-hour blocks, or if you're willing to go to a place where we might learn something like Kannapolis or the P3?
Yeah, I mean, I think
General thoughts.
I'm in favor of going somewhere where we can, take a look. I think it gives us a chance to bond, give the new council members a chance to think big in terms of this is the potential, and then coming back and looking at, okay, how do we make it happen? Whether that's a few hours or a half day, I think that would be something that I would like to do, rather than just going to. Now, I understand Councilmember Garamello's concern. We do have some significant areas of content that we have to go over, bond referendum being one, UDO and environmental energy stuff, land use. So how do we, I think we can do both by going somewhere, but we can.
Okay, so I think I got agreement and heard that from you. And do you agree with that idea too, that going somewhere where there's a P3 DFI opportunity or something outside of just the hotel?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always happy to learn something. I guess that I definitely see Councilmember Garamello's point about there's a lot of content already on the list, and we seem to be adding things rather than subtracting them. So
Yeah, we always do that.
Yeah. So, I definitely am open to seeing a place that we can see a project, but I guess I'm not exactly clear on what that entails. Like, do we just go there and we look around together as a group, or is it a guided tour by their town staff, or what's the situation?
So we would work with Eric to ask those questions. We have not done that yet. We know where they exist. Nothing has been coordinated, but Eric would be able to help us try to facilitate those opportunities. And at this point, I can't commit to them being available. We're looking for some direction on whether we pursue that or not. But in any case, we wouldn't just throw you out there by yourself. It would be somebody that would be able to talk eloquently about the project, answer your questions, show you around in a knowledgeable way.
Okay, thank you.
So it sounds like I think this group is giving you direction. Please explore those options. And if we need to, we can just not take a tour. We could be in that place that has the tour opportunity, but if we have so much content and we want to work through it, that's an option. But it sounds like we'd enjoy some time bonding.
Yeah.
Council, Mayor Pro Tem first.
So
and
can
then
I ask a question, Martha? Because if we choose that option, and there are a great deal of complex issues that we need to discuss, are you thinking that we can, and we already talked about reevaluation being one of those work session topics, these could also kind of flow into the work sessions? Yes.
These topics?
Yeah.
I mean, these were
Or the ones that we're adding.
Yes.
The ones that we're all discussing.
Yeah, we would
I'm
have
not
to
picking
program your time.
Okay.
For sure.
But that's what the work sessions are there for.
Here in town, is that what you're speaking of?
Yes.
Yes. All of these things are important. All of them are going to get talked about. It's when and how is really, so anything that doesn't make your strategic retreat, and again, I'm just strongly encouraged, use that time away to talk to each other about issues of importance, not just get information from staff that we could provide you here and facilitate here. This is about your working relationship, not just feeding you information. So I just encourage you to look at it that way as you pick what you want to talk about.
higher level, the better.
I think I would suggest we having a team building too as part of that, because going to tours, we went to Kannapolis, we've seen what they did and all kinds of stuff, but at the end of the day, we got to cut the envelope based on what our town needs. It's good to get a refresher, but I feel team building should be a part of this retreat. It's I don't know how we added into it, or because I've seen the corporates, they go and have a team building kind of stuff. So at least that way we understand each other.
Okay. So that might be one of the blocks or one of the meals, something like that. We've done team building as part of a meal in the past. I think that's the direction about the location. I think we're probably good on distances. If we want
So you're talking a Charlotte area, because where we stay in relation to these will also add to that time that needs to be spent in this activity.
Okay, so that's about 3 hours-ish, is what you're saying?
And
No, I would tell you half a day.
Half a day to get there?
Not to get there, to do the tour part. So we would have to talk about how you might want to adjust a Friday and a Sunday, which are the travel days, to go farther. All kinds of options there. It's if you're limited as to when you could leave on a Friday or want to get back on a Sunday, is that discussion. And I'd just like to mention in response to something Councilmember Fender said, we sort of selected the Ocean Isle Sunset Beach area because there is, DFI is working with Charlotte, which is nearby. There's literally nowhere we can go and stay and meet at this point. It doesn't mean it's not a good opportunity for the future. There's just nothing available for us right now. It's just not an option this year.
Would we like to dig in on topics now and thoughts about some of our most pressing issues that we want to talk philosophically about?
I think we just added a few of them.
We added a few?
Yeah.
Mayor Protem, do you have any others that you'd like to suggest that we...
So the only other one that I haven't heard anybody talk about yet, and maybe you have it, I don't know what the FS number 2 land options is, by the way.
Fire station number 2.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Yeah, let's talk about that one.
Well, and again, that is one that can be done here. We would encourage you to do it in a closed session. You might do it in a closed session at a retreat.
Okay.
But it can be done in more than one location.
Okay. The only other one I would add, besides talking about reevaluation and the land use plan and some kind of team building or working relationship, would be an update on NCDOT and our projects. And that might be something we could talk about here too. Maybe that's not, but I think that's something I would like to get a better handle.
Yeah, I think on a 3-hour drive.
On the ride.
Yeah.
Well, so, okay.
That would be a good one to talk and discuss.
So that brings up a good point. If we're all going to go together on a bus or whatever, we did that when we did the tour the last time down to Matthews and Davidson. We used the time on the bus. There were presentations because it had
Project.
It had a projector. Thank you. It had some kind of system where there were presentations or we had handouts, and we used that time productively. So I would say if we're all going to be together, use that time for any of these topics too.
Okay. I do like that. I think fire station, just off the top of my mind, it seems like fire station could be more of a work session here, staff driven. But I would sort of put that into the land acquisition bucket. I think we talk about having a policy. I think a retreat might be a good time to actually talk about creating a policy on land acquisition, why we would do it, what would be the important things to do in land acquisition, so that we can actually start moving that forward.
The only thing I'll mention with Fire Station 2 is you're going to be talking about it in January, no matter where, because we are ready to talk about land acquisition. And so that'll be a conversation at the retreat or in January anyways. It's just the scheduling. Again, you're going to talk about all of these things. It's where and when you do it.
Okay.
I have a question about what is prepaid acreage fees?
Prepaid acreage fees is a very complex and longstanding issue related to back in the 80s, the town took prepaid acreage fees, which was a way to collect fees in relation to serving the community with water service. And they made deposits. And there is a day of reconciling those deposits that will now need to be repaid in some fashion, especially in the McCrimmon Parkway extension area. A lot of that undeveloped land has these fees associated with it. It's gotten a little bit more complicated because we merged our water service with Cary in 2006. I will tell you that there's different expectations by some of those landowners as to what those fees are worth, that we've been working on developing options for council to have that conversation. This has been something primarily that Frank and I have been working on, and it is a closed session topic. And I would welcome the opportunity to bring the new council members sort of more up to speed on that individually. The other council members have had a couple presentations on that, and we're still working on that.
I think that would be another thing to do here, would be my thought. Some other things that I would be interested in discussing at the retreat, some of our most pressing issues, is affordable housing and what would be next steps for that. As mentioned, the devil can be in the details, so what would staff need to know? And that might be a good time to have a discussion and to really share our thoughts on that issue and how much a priority it is. Also, our transit plan, we just approved it. What needs to happen in order to get that as part of the budget? I think of this retreat as the kickoff to the budget and things that are going to hopefully be implemented in the next year. So those are two things that we just approved. What are next steps? How can we make them happen sooner rather than later? Also, sidewalk prioritization. I think the town manager mentioned at our last meeting that that's coming back to us. That might be a discussion on how quickly do we want to allocate resources to it. We've sort of talked about it, and it hasn't made a lot of progress. But if we want to devote more resources, that's kind of a high-level discussion because that's important to our residents. And land acquisition as a general bucket. I think that's a discussion that would be appropriate for a retreat. Why would we acquire land? How long might we hold it? What items could it be used for? If we create a policy, then staff will be in a position to keep an eye out for our limited land that's left. Does anyone have any thoughts?
So if I could add, former council did CIP homework on some of those policy areas. So you've done some of that initial work, need to share it with new council members and get some input to update that. But those are kind of captured in that CIP policies project updates category, at least from our philosophical perspective.
Because those were
it was town center. Yeah, the placeholders that were put in the CIP were town center, transit-oriented development, greenways, affordable housing, and land acquisition.
So I think the retreat might be a good time to get into the meat of that and what it means to us so that we can actually start budgeting money and resources towards those. Otherwise, it might be another year before anything gets activated.
So just to clarify, council gave staff direction to prioritize putting some things in place for council to discuss. Town center first, land acquisition second. And we did ask you not to try to get us to do them all at the same time. So that was the direction council originally gave us on following up on those CIP policies.
Okay, so what further policy direction or what do you need from the council in order to?
So you asked us to bring back some additional information to start help you formulating that policy. So that's what staff is working on for town center and land acquisition.
Okay, so town center, it seems like it's moving forward with DFI. They're bringing back some information. I don't think there's anything policy-ish there.
There's lots of things that we talked about have to be decided by council before we issue a RFP.
Okay, do you feel the retreat might be an appropriate time to
Yes,
do that?
I think you need 2 blocks for the town center.
4 hours.
Okay.
4 hours.
And that'll be up to us to sort of come to decisions quickly and make things happen. And land acquisition also. is something that you think would be appropriate for one block?
We sort of propose land acquisition here in the CIP projects, but again, it's what is council's direction to us?
I guess I'd like us to be a little more granular on the CIP policies, project updates then, and sort of understand what that means. If land acquisition is one of them, great. What else would be in there? Greenways as all those placeholders? Or I'm just trying to understand.
Staff only has so much capacity to do the in-depth work you need us to do to support your conversation. So town center and land acquisition were the first two that we were starting to work on.
Okay.
So that's what that line represents.
That line.
The CIP, I'm sorry, CIP
Yes,
policies
yes.
and project updates
Yes.
represents policies that you're going to bring back to us on land acquisition and town center.
Yeah, these were just ideas to stimulate the conversation. These are things you've expressed interest in having more in-depth conversations with. It could be whatever you want it to be, but it's a pickup on the work you've already done.
And I think the CIP policies, project update, and the bond referendum planning and project selection, there is some intertwine because
That's
literally it's a conversation that how we frame our CIP updates pretty much goes into the bond referendum. And I think, which is good. And when you're talking about town center 4 hours, I would rather split it 2 days, 2-2, because 1 4-hour block will pretty much take away.
I think there's always a break.
Yeah, it's two of the ones we've talked about here, and you could do it on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You could do it. If you want an RFP to go out, you need to finish your conversation so that DFI has the direction that you want to take that project.
DFI will be there that.
Yes. Well, depending on what council directs, but he knows when our retreat is.
Okay. Because when the other land use planner group gave us that video and we chose option B, I thought that was good policy direction where we can accept the density. So I guess I'm not sure what else would take 4 hours, but I guess we'll know when we're there. So, okay, good.
Yeah, and your land use discussion that you will get January 14th will be a good refresher on some of those town center areas and some of the other stuff. But you will be seeing all of that come forward within a couple weeks of when you be diving deep into it. So the timing is good on that.
Okay. I heard some interest on sustainability things. What would we like to see in that bucket? What kind of things would be appropriate to discuss? Not to lead, but talk about whatever you want, Councilmember Robati, and then we'll circle back to that.
Well, I guess what I would like to see is kind of a long-range sustainability plan, and that could be an environmental policy, or it could be specific ideas that we'd like to explore, but I would like to see some discussion of a long-range environmental stewardship plan.
I'd be interested in that too. Any other thoughts from other council members?
Well, I want to add to that as part of that, I would like to open up a discussion about initiatives the town could start doing with the municipal buildings, that they have the assets that we have now. What initiatives we can put in place as part of that plan to support more environmentally friendly policies.
Okay.
If that makes sense. But
Councilmember Scroggins-Johnson.
Thank you. I think before we start diving into policy enhancements, we need to look at where we are today. So I would advocate for understanding what we do today as far as environmental friendly kind of things. We need to take credit for the LEDs, street lighting, the LED usage in our municipal buildings. So once we understand where we are today, then we can take the next step. So I think there's an assumption that we're not doing anything, but we are. So let's first kind of understand where we are as a baseline.
Well, those are things that we've done, which is great, but what is next?
But it has not been documented in a way that we can take the next step. I know some things, it's not in the format of a plan or a study or, I know we've done them in the past, but we need to say, this is what we have today as a baseline that is in the area of, sustainability. We do things now.
And the
Let's make sure-
MES committee was,
Asked.
yeah,
Asked to look into it.
asked to look at this and do an inventory and develop some strategies and approaches. So an update from that committee might be helpful.
Would be a start, right? Yeah.
Well, I just think, I'm aware of what the town has been doing with, they've changed out all the LED, all the lighting to LEDs. But there's just so much more we can be doing, especially when we look at what the other towns, Town of Cary and Apex, are already doing. We have a long way to go to even get to where the
Our neighbors are. Yeah.
Right. And I've been reading the meeting notes from the Environmental and Stormwater Committee. And unfortunately, I haven't been able to go to any of their meetings. They're always on, they were on the same day as our HOA board meetings. But they've been working on enhancing their website. They haven't been working on any sort of policy initiatives the town could start putting in place. I just think it's an extremely important topic, and it's something I wouldn't want to be dependent on the committee to just take care of that. I think it's the town council needs to spearhead that a bit more than we have in the past.
Okay. Yeah. Modeling some behavior. Councilmember Rabati.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I agree that council should set a policy direction. I guess that's what I'm hoping for a discussion of. That what policy direction would we set for committees that they can then enact? As far as I'm concerned, a sustainability policy should cover the work of all committees. All committees should be looking for the most sustainable way to do things while still being fiscally responsible, obviously. But, that to me is a lens through which we should view all projects.
Okay. Yeah, I think it might be a good discussion at the retreat because we have to celebrate and see what we've done and what our next steps moving forward. I don't think that we need to take a look in the past too much. Councilmember Vermillion.
I think I go back to this, what Martha has said about the UDO flexibility and updates. It's important that it's not just the town assets. It is any new development or any new of those things. So those can be all tightened under the UDO. If, for example, a new apartment complex is coming, tell them to do like 2 or 3 electric gas stations, charging stations, or those kind of things. It's not always the town because we can do on our side, but only when you put those kind of things in policies, which is governing. I think that's where it gets more teeth into it.
Yeah, so we have some of that already in our UDO, but don't forget a lot of this we can't require.
Legislative authority.
Yes, we don't have legislative. A lot of that's written in the UDO as incentives. So we can talk about that, adding more incentives into UDO, but there's only so much. Maybe that's a conversation we need to have about what our authorities are and aren't.
There's frameworks of information I'm hearing that you need to have this discussion. You can't establish a policy until you know some of that information you need to know to discuss a policy. We're also aware that, and this is before my time, that there was, I'll call it a failed solar project in the town. And Jeannie is looking for that information to share as a part of that. But putting together some building blocks could be something that you could charge staff to do. Then it's aware, do you want to do it here or do you want to do it in a work session here? How do you want to involve your committee? We can start working on some of those things, pieces of information that help you have that policy discussion, including whatever the MES committee has done. There was work done by the town staff about sustainability programs. It was never included as a part of the UDO, the more robust parts of the sustainability initiatives.
But Martha, did I understand you to say that staff is already taxed getting ready for the discussion of the town center and the UDO? So if we, I mean, do they have the bandwidth to support, to put together the building blocks to support that discussion right now?
So thank you for saying that. My charge, once we leave this discussion, is to have the understanding of the general framework you want and then go and ask those questions and start putting together a framework for you. The positive is if it's spread across multiple resources and departments, that is easier to manage. But we're going to try to deliver what council needs irrespective. But I have to ask some of those questions as well. You're correct.
Sounds to me like on sustainability, I think the group needs to talk more about what that means to each of us. That's always the thing. Is it electric vehicles or is it more green infrastructure in the UDO? So I think that would be a good bonding discussion for us to really share what our values are.
A suggestion, if council wants to travel together and use time to have those conversations, that could be one. Little to no preparation. If you're just sharing your values, your wants, your needs that it could capture, then that could also feed some of the other stuff we would be preparing for your next step in a conversation. In a traveling vehicle, that may be a better conversation to have, and then you don't have to program it in one of your blocks of time.
Councilmember Fender.
Is it possible that one of the work sessions, I mean, you gave me an idea of what you were saying. Is it possible that one of the work sessions isn't necessarily something that the staff has to prepare, but it's more of a like a workshop,
like a
where
brainstorming?
A brainstorming where we're all together talking about, because you said it sounds like the council needs to have more discussion about what this means to each of us. So it could, one of those blocks, just be more of a brainstorming amongst all of us about, like, is it electric vehicles? Is it solar panels? Is it water usage? Is it modifying the UDO?
Would the council be interested in something like that, in addition to maybe the travel time being sort of like that? Councilmember Garamella?
I think, as you rightly said, everyone has a different understanding of, sustainability. I think it is better to first cough it up by everyone who has those kind of ideas of what it is. I may not know certain things. Okay, so building a policy on something that I don't know has no value. So talk about it and see how we can make it as a win-win situation, because and we got to understand is the town budget, how do you incorporate everything equates to the dollar amount, so for me it is having a very deep understanding of what if we do take one step at a time, small things that we can work on, and before just putting all the acceleration towards the full sustainability. It's I need a whole refresher because I know you go to a lot of sustainability conferences and those kind of things. I'm not exposed to that. So for me, it is important to understand those. Like small town examples, what they didn't have, what did they do, and how did they get funds to do it. So those are kind of examples for me, at least.
Okay. Good. I hear often people talk about the most pressing issues for towns, and what people talk about public safety and roads and parks. So I think that those would be three things that we somehow frame into our discussions, make sure that those are top of mind. Those always seem to be the big threes for municipalities. So I'm not sure. Those aren't individual topics, but they should be how we think about these other topics that we're talking about. Like we haven't talked about roads at all, and I think that's probably something we're going to be doing here in town. But
I
parks,
brought up the
do we need more parks?
NCDOT project timeline. It's all our road projects are tied with NCDOT. So yeah, I agree. That's an important topic.
Well, are the roads encompassed in talking about the bond referendum?
So that might be a place to touch in there.
A lot of stuff.
And public safety might be in the bond referendum as well. So I just want to make sure that, and that's, so far we've only been talking about fire rescue, but police has been indicated as they have some needs, and as we grow, there might be more need for that too. Because this retreat, as we travel, it's not going to be just staff giving us a report like they have at some of our local retreats. We used to hear from every department. This is going to be a different retreat. It's more about us, high-level policy.
Okay, so back to your comment about seeing what sticks. We need to do, can we, on this bus, I keep talking about a bus. Can we have like sticky notes, and can we put a chart together? That's how you can throw stuff up and see what sticks.
Yeah, that's true. I'm going to say, like, I might be thinking completely different. There might be different how things work. So,
but on all these topics,
and every dollar, everything has a price point, and then how do we, like, because I'll be very honest, I'm all for sustainability, and that's what at Breckenridge Clubhouse we changed the LEDs, and I tried very hard for the solar and to heat the pool, but they came back and said it's too expensive and the solar will not be. So we have, everything doesn't fit for everything. That's what I mean to say. Like we could start off, but end of the day, the cost of putting that is really helping that place to do it. Those are the kind of things I think the staff will do. But more importantly is, as you rightly said, let's throw it out and see what sticks out.
Yeah, I mean, that's just such a good point. How much does this council want to be leaders in sustainability? Are you willing to put the solar panels if the payback is not within 5 years, for example? Or then it comes also to affordable housing. How committed are we to creating affordable housing? What form will that take? So that's the kind of things that we need to talk about at the retreat.
Absolutely. I think I'm not disputing at all. What I mean to say is, for the example, like the clubhouse that I took, it was just not feasible for the surface or the rooftop that we had, and the solar house always, every time, has to be mostly south-facing to get the maximum, coverage for it. That rooftops are sometimes not conducive for that. You can't have a Ferrari in a Honda Accord type. That's pretty much what it turned out to be, and it was not. There was no value moving forward. Not to undermine, how much you want to go. It's more of, make a superhighway or, the road.
So, so I think that's to me is the difference between a policy and a project, is that a policy in an overarching way says that these are the areas in which we want to focus sustainability. And then the projects are, that staff could evaluate could be, can we put solar panels on town hall? Can we plant trees on 2 acres of land? Find it somewhere, but the policy part of it is, what do we care about, and what types of projects do we want to explore, right? So that's the kind of thing we talk about. That's the kind of thing we talk about on the retreat, right?
Policy.
Policies.
That's our
Okay.
hope, yeah.
So so it's not necessarily like solar panels. It's kind of minutia to me in terms of what I would want to talk about on the retreat, which is like, what kind of stuff do we actually care about when we talk about sustainability? Like, who cares more about like adding electric cars to the fleet, and who cares more about stormwater and that kind of stuff?
Water reuse or green infrastructure,
Whatever,
things
yeah.
like that. Okay. So I've had a chance to sort of say what I think are the most pressing issues that I'd like to discuss. Does anyone else have other things that we haven't touched on or that they want to expand on more to give staff direction? Mayor Pro Tem?
My question is process. So we want to go away from Morrisville on a bus or some other transportation.
I feel like it's
Green bus.
So,
green bus.
Electric bus.
Nice.
So that we have an opportunity for maybe team building as well as discussing some values and getting a understanding of where we are. I don't feel like we've made any decisions like which town, what's our top topic. I mean, you can kind of move these around to be local versus retreat, but maybe we need a summary so that I can go back home with the month that we have off and understand what I need to maybe research or prepare for so that I am more informed about sustainability or maybe one of the other topics.
Are you in a position to sort of share what
I
you've
will
heard so
try.
far?
I will try, because your conversation has I think defined what you want to do. So you have opportunity to, I'll call it free-form engage with each other, really on anything and everything you might want to do, and that could include team building or not, on a group transportation option, actually both down and back. Now, you might be too pooped on the way back. Don't underestimate the brain drain of a retreat. But that there's little to no staff or council preparation. It's sharing. It's the values, and staff could support that. So that's your trip down. I think what we've learned from other retreats, candidly, is once you get there, you want to check in, you want a little bit of downtime, and then you really want to eat, and that's more social. We've done a working dinner, but again, it's constant. And in that particular case, sometimes it's a little difficult depending on where your dinner location might be to be able to present, unless we're going to cater in. So that's your Friday, really. If you want a tour, I think at least initially for planning purposes, you need to talk about your whole part of the first half of Saturday. So you'd come back, have lunch, and you'd really have 2 blocks of time. And I tell you, I think that needs to be town center. It would complement whatever you looked at as well. So you're already into Sunday, where you've got
I got to leave by 12.
2-hour time blocks. And if I was going to advocate for where you can spend your most time and has the most touch points to town center and some of these other things you're talking about, it is that UDO discussion. And that's what I'd program. Some of these other things are in various stages of preparation. Bond, CIP. Again, you're going to get some of that in as we've talked about sometimes, is nothing's discrete. Every decision you make on one thing is going to affect other decisions, multiple decisions. It's about the choices that you have to make. So nothing's discrete. And we could be prepared if there's room to talk about some of those things because they're in process. But otherwise, we're going to layer that into some of your other work sessions here. But I think that you've got two big topics on a retreat: free-form brainstorming and a tour.
I would suggest that we as a group say that let's keep the agenda time slot on Friday. So we have that 2 hour. Let's limit our tour or exploration to just one of the time slots on Saturday. That recaptures two slots.
Mayor, I just don't think that's possible. I mean, it could be an hour to get wherever we need to go, at least an hour tour, and likely more, and then time to travel back to wherever we're at.
I think it's better to dive into the few areas we can so that we can, it's all about time management. What do we need to learn about the town center? What are our decision points so we can move it forward? UDO obviously sounds like one. Some of the other ones, like land options, these kinds of things, are things in the works that we're going to get briefed. And I'd like some time for us. We've heard from Councilmember Rabati, Councilmember Fender, from each of us. What are some, going into the new year, what are the things that we want to see, just in terms of new ideas? Because my concern, and I've always said this, it's a very short year. You look at, January, we're talking about the bond. June, we vote on the budget. July, we're gone. Summer vacation. Next thing you know, fall, and then we'll be back here for, employee appreciation and light the Christmas tree. So it's 8 months, 8 to 7 months we have, and this month's a wash. So we've got a limited amount of time, and so that's the reality.
Councilmember Rabati, is your thing up?
Oh, I'm sorry.
So my main thing is making sure that we're in a position that the budget will contain the things that are most important to us. And what I've heard is that getting the transit plan with buses and affordable housing, and moving forward on sidewalks and land acquisition. So I don't necessarily feel like those are going to be things that we're going to be talking on in the retreat to make sure that they're possibly in the upcoming budget. I see the retreat as setting the stage for the budget. In the town center, that's going to happen. We're going to move forward with that. We have 5 of us who are very experienced on the town center, and I think you two will be up to speed really quickly on the decision points. I don't think we need 2 blocks for the town center. I think if we want to get things done, we can identify some things and make them happen. So those are my thoughts, and I'm a little concerned about just looking at UDO and town center as our 2 main things at this retreat.
So, Mayor, I sense that you have a different objective than what I'm hearing from the town manager. Right. You want to execute and set up for success our budget discussions. I completely understand, since I've been working on these budget cycles, that we have to get our information in early. So I appreciate that. But this budget retreat is off-site. It offers us an opportunity to think about something more visionary and strategically, and the town center is so important to finish and get that RFP ready. I think that investment of being off-site, thinking strategically, is of value to me. How we can also fit the budget discussion in, I don't think that is feasible, and I don't want to shortcut the off-site opportunity to do a tour. If you want to do all those budget items, then I would say we stay here, because I don't want to travel 3 hours to do 30 minutes to look at a city. I want to really understand why it's working for that community, what investment that community has, and what it really brings to the whole picture. That's an investment of my time. I already see that we have several work sessions built into January and February and March that we can talk about those budget topics that you've just mentioned in time for that Marathon May set of meetings. So I don't dismiss the fact that you want to get in things early. I just think that we can't do everything, and we have to prioritize the town center because we've been working on it for 10 years. Let's
More.
invest more. At least 10 years since I've been here. So let's figure out how we can take your topics either in a February work session or something so that we meet the needs that you've expressed concern about affordability and transit and so forth. I agree that we need to talk about them. I just don't think for this retreat that we can cover everything, and we shouldn't try. We should embrace the fact that we're off-site and that we have the opportunity to reflect.
Any other thoughts?
So let me follow up on that. So the town center discussion is going to feed into budget to some degree or potentially bond referendums. So I think that is well, as we just said earlier, all of these things lead to some kind of a budget discussion. So I think we are having those discussions. And I do agree with Vicki. I think, and I said this earlier too, we have the work sessions to hit on all of these topics. I don't think all of these topics are important. It's what do we want to tackle first? And I thought we had all agreed, I know we had all agreed that town center was an important topic because we want to get an RFQ out. So I would say we have to talk about that. Whether, and you know, TJ, we can't do anything in 2 hours. That topic is, I know.
We've been talking 2 hours.
The town center topic is going to take more than 2 hours. So I would agree with Martha. It's going to be 2 of these time frames.
Maybe Friday afternoon would be a good place to start, and then the tour first thing Saturday, and then finish.
So here, what I would say, if we want to give that kind of direction, that's fine. But I would say you go out and figure out how it all fits. Let's tell Martha what are the topics that we want to make sure we hit first, and we can have a couple of topics lined up to be teed up if we have free time. But and then let her go figure out how it works. Because if we're going to do a tour, that may, I don't know. That could be Saturday afternoon. That could be Friday night. It could be, So I would say the town center is definitely a topic we have to tackle. I would also say the UDO and the flexibility. I think that's a topic to discuss. And then I personally would say let's hit on the CIP policies where we're talking about land acquisition and get that updated. Mm-hmm.
So, question, and then I think I'll end. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 topics here.
Now, these were just
no, which are good
discussion.
topics. No, which are very good topics. Like each one is very important because if I come to the retreat and I want to come back, I want to at least close on the RFP, discussion. I don't want to come without an RFP discussion completed, and then fire station 2, discussion, bond referendum planning. These are like critical ones that we can't miss, and the reason I said 1 to 6 is like we're talking 12 hours plus add 2 to town center, 14 hours of discussion into it. That's fully padded into all those breaks and everything. So we got to see how much time we really get to know each other and like gel, those kind of things. That's important.
I would agree with that.
So I think keep it small, which we can achieve goals, and then hit it.
Yeah, what I heard was that the town manager said the prepaid acreage fees, fire station 2, and bond referendum planning are kind of things that could be work session here, though. So you talk about 6 things, but maybe it's 3-ish.
Yeah,
at the retreat. Councilmember Fender.
Well, I was going to say the same thing as Manager Page had said, that those two items, the prepaid acreage fees and the Fire Station 2 land options, could be separate from the retreat. We could talk about those here. So I wouldn't want to waste a time slot on those items if we can talk about it here.
So do we have general consensus that Town Center, looking for 2 slots there, CIP policies, project updates, which include the placeholders, land acquisition, what were some of the others?
UDO.
Wait,
It was
I thought the UDO was
Town
the other
Center, land acquisition, greenways, transit-oriented development, and what? What was the fifth one? C-54? No. What was the fifth? I missed one.
Affordable housing?
Affordable housing. Were the 5, from our last discussion, it was staff couldn't do them all at one time. You prioritized town center and land acquisition because they were really influencing your discussion of actual CIP projects that feed into your bond referendum discussion.
So there's a couple of times you called it the TOD, but I'm thinking more transit.
The policy placeholder was TOD.
Okay.
Not transit. So, and I think Ben is still here. A reminder that some of that public transportation has other stuff in front of it as well. That there was a grant that you applied for just from a timing perspective and getting some of that off the ground. So I'd want to talk to him and the rest of planning staff about following up on the report that you received on public transportation. But the timeline was still long for implementation, even with some of the things we talked about with the node-based service.
Okay, I thought it was 18 months if we rushed.
So that would not be a fiscal year 21 budget discussion then?
Well, there might be some in 21 in order to implement in 22.
And again, I haven't had those kind of conversations.
Because I just personally think that's something that the residents are very interested in. Movement towards transit, because we're not able to get as much progress as we would hope on the roads. So that would be a good thing to make sure that we're showing real leadership in trying to make that happen sooner rather than later. So that's why I'm hoping that that's something that we can discuss at the retreat, just to make sure that we're not slowing down the process. Whatever staff needs to know from us, from a policy perspective, I want to make sure that they have that in order to move forward with both affordable housing, which is really important, and the bus node service.
So are you not happy with the last discussion we had on transit? Because we did give them direction.
To make it happen.
Yes, and that's why they're applying for the grant, so that is in the works.
I just want to make sure that they know if there's anything that they need from us, direction-wise, to make it happen soon, they're ready to ask us, and we're ready and prepared to indicate yes or no.
Respectfully, I don't think we need to bring a staff member to the retreat specifically to let them know that we are in support of our discussion for the transportation. I mean, that's something we could handle here, possibly, sooner than later, because we want to make sure we're still on the same path. But if they've applied for a grant that they've actually actioned from what our discussion was, that's a very positive thing. Right. The affordable housing, I'm not as clear as to what actions they're taking now, so that would be of interest to me. I don't need to discuss that in the retreat if we don't have time, although I'd like to discuss it in the first quarter of 2020.
So one of the things that perhaps staff can do to help is to give you, we've got a back-end process of a key project work item that we put milestones and some timelines together, and this is ultimately what's going to feed our project tracking software. They just haven't been done for those 2 very recent discussions. That may help inform some of the information that you want to know, and we could do that we could do a comprehensive major update, but if it's just feeding you information, that's better here than discussion at a retreat. Just to receive information and ask questions. That's effectively done here.
Okay.
Thank you for that clarification.
So I think that might fall into the free form part.
Right.
talk about that, values and things like that. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Any more
Any other thoughts?
So I'd offer, let staff take the next couple days to put the thoughts in an action plan. It gives Aaron some time to even start inquiring about availability options. And I think we could do some communication with you via email going into a holiday, recognizing many staff, this is when they take their time off. We would like you to affirm that this is okay with you because we need to start planning. So that's what I would want to try to make sure that timeline gives staff as much time as possible to prepare things that will help you with your discussions.
Well, I'm very interested in trying to make sure that we keep that agenda time slot number one. I'll personally commit to be ready to have a 2-hour discussion even after a trip, so we can hit the ground running when we get there.
I agree with that. I know this is a follow-up. Just to check in, we've had challenges sometimes. Are people committing to leave at noon on a Friday? And I understand you already may have some conflicts.
I'm willing to commit to that. Yep.
I don't know yet.
I'll be traveling. I'll have to leave I'll be in Charlotte. So.
You'll be where we're going?
Yeah.
That's great. That's the reason. That's the reason he didn't say about Ocean. He was kind of.
You can call in.
So I just think what's important is what council has repeatedly affirmed is you need to make effort to make sure everybody's there to participate in the conversations. So what Councilmember Rao's work schedule might influence that time slot. And I don't know what that is, but that's just the challenge we've had is a discussion when somebody's not in place doesn't accomplish your overall objectives.
You mean saying that I may not be there for the part where they're talking about that?
You.
How about you?
This year I'm going to limit my words. I like that. It's a new exercise. You get to have a word
So let's do what we can over the next month to try to make sure that we can be present for the entire thing. Look to be getting back in our area about 3 on Sunday.
Sounds good.
Any other thoughts?
I have several more thoughts. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Does staff feel like they have what they need to move forward?
Yeah, I think
at
we
this
can
point?
get a meeting together and talk through some stuff.
Okay, and then you can give us an email update at some point, and if you need more direction from us, don't reply all, just write back to staff. Cool. This has been a great first meeting for our new council, so thank you all. This was a good discussion. More to come. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Who was that?
Let's give it to Ms. Ravati. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. It is 9:24. We are adjourned. That passed unanimously. Thank you very much.